Hey, so just a quick one here. You will probably have seen some of these pictures that are rendered fairly realistically. We are still working on that renderer. This is the PBR, the physics-based rendering that Dan is implementing. And you have seen it also in the latest newsletter. There's a F-16 fighter plane there that's got some PBR attributes. At the time of this rendering, this was not complete yet, but we're continuing to develop. And I wanted to show you how you can find some of these. So if you go to cgtrader, accept the cookies, yum yum, and then look for something like PBR, physics-based rendering. So you see the models that are PBR-ready. Now, when you do that, you get mostly the ones that have a price tag on it, and some of them are very expensive, but I tell you they're probably worth it, for at least for some of them models that will save you a lot of time, and time is money. But what we're looking for right now are the free ones, so check this box here, free. If you want to minimize the number of expensive ones, you can also reduce the price tag there. So maybe you have a small budget for just a few of them. So reduce it to that. But if you check the free box, you'll see the free ones. There's some other things you might say, well, show me just the lowest price first, because you might have a mix of some priced ones and some free ones. So with this, you should be able to see pretty much everything that you can get a hold of. And that's where we saw the F-16 fighter plane here somewhere too. So navigate through these pages until you find what you're looking for. There are plenty of models here. I'm going to take, this one is PBR. It doesn't say what model. Oh, yes, it does. Yeah, the tooltip, when you hover over it, it will typically show you what format it is. Right? Most of these do come in more than one format. Sometimes it's a FBX, film box. Sometimes, and many of these you can actually import in Blender and then take them back out to another format, like Wavefront OBJ, right? So that's what you'll probably want to do. Now there's a lot of files here, so you may want to further reduce your search to the particular. Oh, look at that! There's a fountain you could put into a 3D scene. I mean, it's really beautiful. There's so many models here that you can use. Probably some of them even for commercial. But at least just to experiment with the 3D and see how it renders. Look at that, that one probably has some transparency. Not sure if we're doing that already, but at some point I would hope so. That's really fabulous here. So let me see if I add also a short description here, probably up there, so say F-16 or airplane or something like that. There you go. So there's a bunch of those. Make sure you check the free one. And there it is. There's our airplane that we had taken. So you go here, you see probably who made it. There you go. Give him some credit. Buy him a coffee or something. If there's, sometimes you have a link to coffee.com or something. But you can see there's a couple of different ways that this thing can be used with or without the textures, the maps. It comes with a lot of that. So when you download it, you'll have something to play with, right? And so we did that. Let's see what that looks like. So here we have a whole bunch of images. We may have changed a few. Dan may have added some bumps or textures and so on. But there's the metallic ones, the normal ones, roughness. You want to be able to paint on them too. There's a PDF version here with a UV map, so you can further enhance it. In fact, one thing that looks pretty cool is if you actually map that onto the colors, so you get the black outlines of each polygon. If you want to see like the polygons, where are they, that might be a cheap trick to do that. Just in case your renderer doesn't actually give you a wireframe mode with the solid polygons filled, you can simply make it a shaded mode and apply this texture as the coloring on it. Anyway, so let's load that into Howler. And take a look at what that looks like. So this is on my external drive. It'll be a little bit slow. Oh no, it's on the C drive desktop presentation. Okay, we'll see where that is. I may have it in the downloads folder too. Let's go check that out. Okay, here we go. Filter. Render geometry. There you go. And so we need to find our 3D presentation folder. Let's see from the top, desktop, I have it there. There, I like to put an exclamation mark or a $sign in front of the name so that I can find them right at the top. That gives it higher visibility than if they are in alphabetic order. So that way I can probably get to it a little bit faster if I don't waste my time explaining that. And it's probably July 2023. There's an exclamation mark right at the top, so I don't need to look for it. And there is my OBJ file. Double click that, load it, already done, right? So you have a quick way to now see that. Maybe zoom in a little bit, or maybe switch to moving mode so you can move into the scene, and go back to rotation mode with the left button. There you go. So wireframe mode, there you go. Right. And so that's the idea. You can very quickly have your 3D object shaded, rendered, add some light, brightness, and so you can adjust which way the light is shining on this. Maybe have a little bit more brightness on this, maybe only one light source. So let's say we take the blue one off, just make it black. So you just have one light source here, but you still have also the ambient light. And if you bring that to 0, you just have one directional light. So there you go. And then you can make that a brush. And then you can say, well, let's give it a slightly different angle and make that a brush. And yet another. Actually, not make it a brush, but rather add it to the brush. That's what I wanted to do. So let's say I take this angle and give it a little bit brighter, and then I want something like this, right? And then so add that to the brush. And so you can easily create a whole collection of renderings in a single brush image sequence. That's an animator brush. And you can also make them smaller, zoom out a little bit, maybe tilt it, and add that to the brush. So now you have a couple. If you click OK, you have a stored copy of that brush, and you can see the film strip that contains all the frames that were captured into that. And so when you paint with this brush, you essentially it's navigating through all of these. And of course, that's not typically how to use it. There's a couple of ways to use this now. One is you may want to extract that into a sequence to see each frame individually. And really one of the best ways to do, or the fastest way to do that is, first of all, you make the brush full size. So when you paint, you see each at its full size. And then you say, let's go create an animation, capture that. Maybe we have about 5 or 6 frames. And then just render out the brush with the custom brush, the brush keyframer right there. Right, so you render that out, and there's no need for extra magic, maybe linear, it doesn't really matter. It's not moving, not rotating, it's just rendering the whole sequence. And now you have each frame extracted at all of these, and in fact a few of them twice, because it was fewer frames in the brush than frames to receive it all. So here you have this one and that one again. There it is, there's again. There may be one missing at the end. I don't remember. There used to be a bug like that, but good enough if we have at least a bunch of these. And then that way you can store them, and you can composite them. You can do a whole bunch of things to use just one of these, right? At that point, you go to, let's say you want this one here, or let's see what's a really good looking angle here. No, let's take this one. So maybe what's white is the background. We want to make that transparent. Let's select by color, for example. Select by color key and click the white colors. So it's selecting all the white pixels. And okay, that. Invert the selection. There you go. And then pick that up as a custom brush. Copy selected as brush. So now you can preview it and you can see it here by itself. And that, of course, is another one we might want to store and manage a copy of that. And so what's next? Well, what's next is maybe we'll go to a much bigger image, create something like full HD, and we need to render a sky in there. Let's go render. Where's my render? There. Render the new sky filter, and maybe we want a different time where the sun is going to set down there, and a little bit more to the right side. And then let's see, a little bit more coverage, a little bit higher thickness on the clouds, ambient, yeah, all sorts of things we could do there. Maybe darker, actually, something like that. Yep, and then iterations, and go and render that. So you now have a background sky added, and soon enough you'll have that jet plane going right into it. Takes a little while to render. I'm not on a fast computer here anymore. I mean, by today's standards, I think it's about 4 years old. It's an i7. I think I have 12 CPU cores. I'm not sure that I'm actually using them at this time. That would be interesting to see, actually. Oh, too late, already done. Gonna go ask or act a little faster. Yeah, they were not all fully out. Anyway, there you go. Now you can go and stamp this down. Well, first it needs to get the attention. And let's say you want to have another one a little bit smaller, so you make that a little bit smaller. There you go. And also change the saturation a little bit. So there's hue saturation value. Maybe the value is a little bit darker, but the saturation, hue saturation, you want the saturation to be lesser. And then you also want perhaps even a little bit more bluish, something like that, right? And then there might be also a slight different rotation for one more of those this way, and that one is really far away, so we'll make them small. This way, there you go. All right, just one 3D object file, OBJ file, and soon enough you can put some nice things together like these. And hope this was useful. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.